When it comes to hair, we just leave Whoopi alone. So shame on you, Whoopi. Play the black card somewhere else because don't work here in America.
You know the irony? It's so hard watching The View because even when you're, everybody on the table is saying something wrong. Like it's like you're focusing on Whoopi, but then the woman who's arguing with her is also saying things that are wrong. Yeah. It's just one big.
Right. Nobody watches The View. They watch you watching The View.
Yes.
Whoopi Goldberg has made her share of eyebrow-raising statements over the years, but her latest on-air moment wasn't just controversial. It was the kind of comparison so wildly off base that even her own co-hosts struggled to keep straight faces.
Whoopi once again has been caught being even dumber than we thought. Watch as she claims blacks in America have it worse than women in Iran. Roll it, Phyllis.
Let's just remember, too, the Iranians literally throw gay people off of buildings. They don't adhere to basic human rights.
Listen, here's the thing. Let's not do that.
In a heated discussion about human rights, she actually claimed that being black in America is as bad, or worse, than living under the Iranian regime. Let that sink in for a second. Iran, the same country that has spent decades silencing dissent, jailing journalists, and treating women as second-class citizens under a strict theocratic law. A government so repressive that people are executed for political activism, journalists are imprisoned for reporting the truth, and basic freedoms, the kind Americans take for granted, are almost non-existent.
Do that because if we start with that, we have been known in this country to tie gay folks to the car.
I'm sorry, but where the Iranian regime is today in 2025 is nothing compared to the United States.
Keep hanging black people. So
it is not even the same. I think it's very different to live in the United States in 2025 than it is to live in Iran.
Not if you're black.
Not for everybody.
Not if you're black.
To be clear, this wasn't a slip-up or a half-thought-out remark. Whoopi doubled down, waving her hands and interrupting, making it very clear she meant what she was saying. The rest of the panel was visibly tense, the kind of tense where you can see people calculating in real time whether jumping in is worth the fallout. Even then came Tyrus. And if you've watched him before, you know he's not one to tiptoe around nonsense.
Well, hold on, Greg. First of all, I'd just like to say that for the many people that I have tied to cars, I never ask them about their sexuality. Never once.
He opened with a sarcastic fake agreement, a comedic rope-a-dope, before dismantling her claim piece by piece. His point was devastatingly simple. Only in America could someone sit in a multi-million-dollar job on national television, say something that outrageous, interrupt people mid-sentence, and face zero risk of punishment. In Iran, saying that on air could get you imprisoned, or worse.
Listen, I love... Whoopi's right. I mean, it's been rough for us. I mean, you saw what just happened to me in the last segment. I'm trying to talk, and all the white people are like, oh, it's Tyrus, I can make a phone call. You know? And it's...
How did that make you feel?
I felt very black.
Did
Greg.
you feel black?
Yeah,
it's worth Tyrus. Malice just started snapping
By the way,
his fingers for you.
Thank God black people don't do that in audiences.
Yes, yeah.
The fact that she could freely say it was the clearest evidence that America is not, in fact, Iran. He also nailed the absurdity of the black card argument. In America, anyone, regardless of race, gender, or background, has opportunities to improve their life. It doesn't mean the playing field is perfectly level, but the opportunity is there. That's the difference between a flawed democracy and a system where opportunity doesn't exist at all.
But it's only in America. Can a black person sit on a TV show getting paid millions and millions of dollars to have the floor and can say, it can interrupt people? According to her, life was like in Iran, it was for black people. Her interrupting and speaking in public would have led to a stoning.
Yeah.
Like the ignorance, you live in a country where you might feel a certain way, but here's the one thing about America that makes it different than anyone else. You have an opportunity, even as dumb as the she just said, that she has an opportunity tomorrow. They won't fire her over that.
No.
She'll have an opportunity tomorrow to come on and fix it. Will she? She won't. But that's the thing about this country. Black, white, gay, straight, short, tall. Everyone's going to get hit with something, but the beauty about this country is there's always an opportunity for you to better yourself. So shame on you, Whoopi. Play the black card somewhere else because don't work here in America.
You know the irony?
But then we get to the factual side. And here's where Whoopi's take falls apart entirely. She claimed Iran throws gay people off buildings, which does happen in some extremist-run regions. But the Iranian state's documented policy is equally horrifying, forcing LGBTQ individuals into gender reassignment surgeries they didn't want. Tehran is known as the forced transition capital of the world because this coerced surgery is seen as a solution to homosexuality. That's not just a human rights abuse, it's a state-sponsored erasure of identity. And yet, Whoopi's framing somehow skips over that reality entirely. Instead, she pivots to a narrative where America's flaws erase the need to talk about the brutal realities overseas. Which raises the question, is this willful ignorance, or is it a refusal to admit that Western freedoms, while imperfect, still put us miles ahead of authoritarian regimes? Of course, you can't talk about this moment without bringing up the comedic goldmine that is Whoopi's stage name origin. Yes, the woman delivering sweeping moral judgments to millions named herself after a toy that makes fart noises. Combine that with her confusion between a do-rag and a hijab, and suddenly her credibility as an international human rights commentator feels thin. But here's the other problem. This is The View, which means even the person arguing against Whoopi was getting details wrong. Alyssa Farah Griffin, the so-called Republican seat warmer, whose role is basically to give the illusion of balance, seemed to have one eyebrow permanently raised. The setup was classic View chaos. One co-host pointed out that in Iran, gay people are literally thrown off buildings, and women are forced to obey dress codes enforced by morality police. But before that point could even land, Whoopi cut in with, "Let's not do that. We've tied gay folks to cars here." A statement that instantly turned the conversation into a surreal clash of historical cherry-picking and personal grievance. And it didn't stop there. She went on to claim that Black Americans keep getting hanged, painting a picture of modern America as if it were locked in a perpetual pre-civil rights nightmare. Now, no one's denying racism exists in the United States, but the leap she made, equating that with life under Iran's authoritarian rule, left the conversation veering off into a parallel universe. That's when the panel tried, desperately, to pull the conversation back to reality. One co-host gently insisted the situations weren't comparable, but Whoopi fired back, "Not if you're Black," doubling down on the idea that race alone erases the vast difference between a constitutional democracy with civil rights laws and an oppressive theocracy. The tension reached peak awkward when the audience started clapping. It was the kind of applause that makes you wonder, is this genuine agreement, or just a Pavlovian response to the glowing applause sign above the set? Because if people were honestly clapping for the idea that America is just as bad as Iran, that's not just bad analysis, that's a collective detachment from reality. But the most revealing part of this entire exchange wasn't the hyperbolic comparison itself. It was what it said about how we now prioritize feelings over facts. Whoopi wasn't building her argument on objective, documented evidence. She was describing how it feels to be a Black person in America. And while lived experiences are important, they don't erase or replace objective truth. Yet, increasingly, in media and politics, we've reached a point where my feelings can outweigh the facts. And here's the problem. Once feelings override reality, you can justify almost anything. That's the road to misinformation. That's the road to bad policy. And that's the road to emotionally charged TV moments that rack up views online, but leave viewers less informed than before. This is part of the reason the show feels less like a political discussion and more like a never-ending improv skit where everyone's competing to be the loudest, not the most accurate. And yet, people watch. Not for the insight, not for the clarity, but for the same reason they slow down at car accidents, to witness the chaos. Viewers know they're not getting serious analysis, they're getting unfiltered emotional outbursts packaged as political commentary. And those outbursts, the finger wagging, the interruptions, the gasps from the audience, are the product. For anyone who does sit through it, consider yourself a public servant. Because while you are busy watching these ideological train wrecks, you're saving someone else from the pain of doing it themselves. In that sense, The View has mastered one thing, the art of turning political discourse into a viral spectacle. And as long as moments like this keep happening, they'll keep getting clipped, shared, and debated online. And that's the real irony. The View claims to be a space for discussion and understanding, but what it's really become is the reality TV of daytime politics. Subscribe for more truth bombs.